President Muhammadu Buhari has sent a request to the National Assembly to reconsider and approve the federal government's 2016 to 2018 external borrowing plan. The $30 billion loan, according to him, is to execute key infrastructural projects across the country between 2016 and 2018. In another letter, President Buhari is seeking an amendment to a section of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, preserving the powers of the Attorney General of the Federation to approve registration of companies limited by guarantee. Our correspondent, Terry Kumi, now reports.
Those against you say nay.
The final plenary of the week in the House of Representatives begins with letters of request from President Muhammadu Buhari sent to both chambers of the National Assembly.
Those against you say aye.
One of the letters is for the review and approval of the 2016 to 2018 external borrowing plan.
While I had transmitted the 2016 to 2018 external borrowing plan to the 8th National Assembly in September 2016, this plan was not approved in its entirety by the legislature. The outstanding projects in the plan that were not approved by the legislature are nevertheless critical to the delivery of the government's policies and programs relating to power, mining, roads, agriculture, health, water, and educational sectors.
A second communication from the President is for the amendments to a section of the Companies and Allied Matters Act, CAMA, passed by the 8th Assembly.
The House of Representatives may wish to note that in this bill, Section 26, Subsection 5 of the Extant Companies and Allied Matters Act has been amended to preserve, to preserve the powers of the Attorney General of the Federation to approve the registration of companies limited by guarantee, and 2, reflect the ease of doing business principles in Executive Order Number 1 of 2017.
Afterwards, a number of matters of urgent public importance are raised, one of which urges the federal government to rescind its decision to employ 5,000 instead of the initially proposed 10,000 personnel into the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC.
3 million people apply in only 10,000. And now budget office, they plan to reduce it to 5,000. So, Mr. Speaker, what kind of plan is this?
A motion on the need to ensure that policemen on highway patrol are properly kitted and their cars clearly marked is also raised.
Policemen on highway patrol appear differently from one checkpoint to another. Concerned that some of the vehicles used by the policemen on highway patrols are neither properly painted in Nigerian police colors, nor are they properly numbered, thereby not providing clear means of ascertaining the police division they belong to.
For many Nigerians, especially road travelers, this is a welcome development, as they will now be able to differentiate between real policemen and the fakes. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Meanwhile, President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawal, has directed the Committee on the Niger Delta to work with the board approved by the Senate when considering the budget of the Niger Delta Development Commission. By this directive, the Senate committee is to ignore the interim committee inaugurated by the Minister of the Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio. Senator Lawal gave the directive following President Muhammadu Buhari's request to the Senate for the consideration and approval of the Niger Delta budget.
I want to also reiterate here, for emphasis, that we deal with the governing board that this Senate has approved.
Away from lawmakers, Nigeria may be on her way to digital economic prosperity as President Muhammadu Buhari unveils a strategy document that will galvanize the sector towards employing millions in the country. Speaking as a special guest at the E-Nigeria Conference, Exhibition and Awards, President Buhari also directs ministries, departments and agencies to key into the government's master plan. Our correspondent Ibrahim Adra reports.
President Buhari unveils a document that is believed to hold the key to unlocking the nation's fortune in digital economy.
In assisting the President to unveil the National Digital Economy Strategy.
At the forefront of driving the process is the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy.
How can we deploy communications and support our economy individually and collectively? There are 8 areas that we need each and every stakeholders to give us the necessary support and work together so that by the end of 2023, we will be proud to say that Nigeria is a digitalized country. These areas, in summary, starting number 1 is developmental regulation.
The thinking is that with remarkable contributions to the country's GDP so far, the sector could be a huge employer that adds up to ₦1 trillion to the country's purse annually. For 2 days, stakeholders here will brainstorm on how best to proceed. Hopefully, they will resolve some of the obstacles to growth. The keynote speaker acknowledges some of them, including absence of a proper framework.
Our national ICT development strategy is not clear. As Nigerians in the industry, we recognize that our national development agenda cannot be based on the profit-making agenda of businesses or simply consumption of global technology. We need our government to define and pursue a specific development agenda.
President Muhammadu Buhari says the sector holds a lot of promise and directs all ministries, departments and agencies to key in.
And all ministries, departments and agencies are expected to comply with these policies. I have therefore directed the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy to develop training and sensitization programs that will be rolled out across all key MDAs with immediate effect.
2 young Nigerians who excelled in global competitions in artificial intelligence were honored with federal government providing funds for startups. It's the 12th edition of the eNigeria Conference, an event that serves as platform for ICT awareness and creation, as well as setting goals for best practices. From Abuja, Ibrahim Adra, Channels Television News.
The federal government says that it is making efforts to improve the nation's labor productivity, with some of the measures including diversification of its revenue base and provision of infrastructure. This explanation is offered by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, who is speaking at the 2019 edition of the National Productivity Awards. The recipients for this year's awards includes the Chairman of Channels Media Group, Dr. John Momo, the President, Dangote Group of Companies, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, the Chairman, United Bank for Africa Group, Tony Lumelu, and Obao Tudeko, Chairman of Honeywell Group.
The hugs and handshakes are appropriate at this gathering, as these eminent Nigerians who are captains of industry are getting a pat on the back for their contributions to national development. In a lecture titled Productivity, Reengineering, Security and Growth in Nigeria, a member of the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank, Mr. Mike Obadon, expresses concern that the productivity level in the country has remained low. He puts it at $4 per hour.
For a very long time, productivity in Nigeria has been low, and that position is supported by available evidence. Productivity is low in the various sectors: agriculture, industry, and services. And if you talk about public-private sectors of the economy, productivity is also low.
We have made outstanding progress in almost all segments of agriculture value chain. Consequently, 10,000s of jobs in agriculture, logistics, manufacturing, and real sectors are being created.
After the lecture, honorees are called one after the other to receive their awards.
Professionalism and immense contributions to nation building. Join us from Tube to Channels Television on a daily basis. Congratulations, sir.
Well, I want to appreciate the effort of the government, who's appreciating the work of individuals and the companies who have done the contribution in the Nigerian economy. And this award means a lot to us in terms of Dufil Prima Foods. We employ more than 5,000 direct employees and more than 20,000 indirect employees.
We just need to do more in job creation. We need to enhance productivity of our people, and we need to have the enabling environment that will enable private sector to create jobs, and enabling environment that will enable our people, support our people to be their best.
For the past 18 years, over 300 Nigerians and 27 organizations have been conferred with the National Productivity Order of Merit Award. According to the organizers, this effort is expected to spur other Nigerians towards value addition and economic development.
Former presidential candidate Professor Kingsley Moghalu says that Nigeria needs a clear population policy to address the issues of youth unemployment and to make more economic gains. The political economist, who was speaking at an event in Lagos, believes that the country's population, if not controlled, will continue to outweigh the country's resources.
We need a population policy. It must not be by force. A lot of it has to do with education. We have to mount a campaign that tells our citizens the benefits of managing the numbers of children we bring into the world. I made a proposal that no family should have more than 4 children, and in saying so, I'm taking into consideration the parts of the country where polygamy is part of the culture. So if you assume that you have 4 wives, each one can have 1 child, and that's okay. But if you are not polygamous, the recommendation would be 2, maximum 3. If we don't begin to do this and educate people on why it is necessary, in order to end poverty, because children who are brought into the world, but they are not well equipped, they are not well trained, they are the ones who roam the streets as almajiris. They are the 13 million children who are not in school.
But the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Mr. Festus Keyamo, who is also a guest at the event, disagrees. He argues that with the right skill set, Nigerians' growing population will not be a problem.
I think that as good and as attractive as the idea may seem, Professor Moghalu may have caught the ground from under his own feet when he also made the point that human beings, especially the productive human population, can be the very basis upon which to grow an economy. So you need human beings, and lots of them, and skilled human beings, skilled and productive human beings for your economy to grow. If you are not producing as many people as you want to, and you don't empower them, you don't skill them up, your economy cannot also grow. Now look at the policy Canada has adopted, and the policy the United States adopted over the years, the green card policy. These are countries that United more popular than us, but they were opening up their borders for more people to come in. I think the way to go is not to control population, but to skill up that population. To ensure the more you scale up the population, the more your economy will grow, the more you make your country richer and wealthier.